'Twas the night before, when all through the, oh no, not a, was stirring, not even an, oh yeah. The, were hung by the, with care, in hopes that would soon be there. He, oh yeah, his sleigh to his team gave an and away they all roared like the down of a but I heard him exclaim ere he out of sight, happy, oh no, to all, and to all a good We watched the Santa Claus and Christmas with the Kranks.
Sean, I'm worried.
Huh?
You know, I'm getting worried. No, that was perfect. That if the most perfect intro I can imagine for our very merry Tim Allen Christmas episode, which I have zero regrets about. So again, welcome to Citizen Kane Versus, where we compare a movie that is considered to be more of a classic to a movie that is more on the schlocky side, and we ask ourselves honestly, which is better? My name is Jack Rennie, and I'm joined by my two friends, one
Sean Jacqueline
and
Daniel Benoit.
And we are doing our Christmas episode of The Santa Claus versus Christmas with the Kranks. And what a Christmas it is with these two movies.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'm definitely in the Christmas spirit now. I'm in a great mood. I just finished the Santa Claus 5 minutes ago.
Ooh,
and
that's a good place to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. You know what? I'm feeling great. I'm not a big Christmas guy, but boy, howdy, do I feel the Christmas spirit in me.
Yeah, your hat would say otherwise. Yeah.
Yeah. You look like a jaunty elf.
Thank you. I was going for jaunty elf.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see the jaunty now.
I was going for like foppish elf,
Okay.
but I needed I ran out of, I didn't have time to do my makeup.
Yeah, I don't know if that's in your character profile, but yeah, it's yeah.
Don't pigeonhole me, Sean. I will not be.
I'm just saying, if I was a casting director, foppish would not be the direction I would not choose you for the foppish role.
You know what? I just need a chance to show what I've got, and I think I would change your mind.
Next.
I'll sleep with you.
Oh, that's real. That's real.
I'll do whatever. I'll do whatever you want.
Is this what you want? So these, I'm so happy that we chose these movies together this week, a little to break the formula. We, as opposed to taking turns pitching the movies, because it just made sense. We're just doing one Christmas episode, much to Miranda's chagrin. Mm-hmm. But I think it was fitting that we picked these together. When we settled on this, we laughed, and that was kind of what sold it. And I'm both happy we did, and I am also deeply regretful, because
That's so shocking stuff.
Because I mean, we'll get into it. Christmas with the Kranks is, like, spoiler alert, like one of the worst movies I think I've ever seen. Like, I have notes that are
get out of here.
Are you kidding me? I have
one
notes
of the
that are
worst
like,
movies you've ever seen.
Please let it stop.
Oh, wow.
I want to die.
This is going to be a very interesting conversation, I think.
I love this.
Yeah. I also just want to also say that after watching...
Sorry, I have a note that's, I hate this movie. I want to die.
Oh, I think I'm starting to hate this movie, and then fuck this movie.
Yeah. Dan has a note. I love this movie.
I have a note. I'm going to watch this movie. I never want it to end. No, all I'm going to say, this is more a note from Miranda. Mm-hmm. Having watched two Christmas movies back to back now, there is no fucking way that we could have done an entire month of Christmas movies.
No. I would have.
Like, two is kind of my cap.
Balcony.
No.
Yeah.
And it's different because spooky movies don't have to just be in like October, Halloween. Like, horror movies come out year round, right? They are a year round genre.
Yeah.
Whereas Christmas movies should be reserved to fucking at least the winter.
Or for us, October. The entire month of October.
Yeah.
Right. No, I'm saying Christmas movies.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Our miraculous
entire Halloween month was Christmas movies.
All Christmas.
Yeah. Because we're that good. I can't wait for all the Christmas movies in 2021 because it's just going to be all the movies they weren't allowed to release in 2020. So we're going to have twice the amount of just complete garbage to go and ingest for Christmas next year. Can't wait.
Vanessa Hudgens is the Princess Elf. Calling it.
I wonder how many people are actually watching those like garbage Hallmark Christmas movies that come out.
Millions.
You think so? Because when I reach for a Christmas movie, I go like classic or bust. Like it has to be a movie that I know well from my childhood, or else it doesn't count as a movie to me.
Daniel, you're a man of refined taste. You're of a superior intellect.
Those are words that I never thought would leave your mouth, Sean. I'm
sorry,
both flattered and shocked.
I had a traumatic brain injury about 20 minutes ago.
Fuck you.
Well, since you just watched The Santa Claus, Daniel, do you want to give her a rundown?
Sure. The Santa Claus is about a man named Scott Calvin who is a cutthroat businessman. He works in the business of making toys, and he is a negligent father who only gets to see his son once in a blue moon. And while during one of his visitations on Christmas Eve, he accidentally kills Santa by shocking him off a rooftop.
Startling
and
yeah.
Well, I mean,
yeah.
I said what I said.
Yeah.
He shocked him off a rooftop.
I appreciate it.
That sounds like he electrocuted him, actually.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay. So he startled him off a rooftop. And discovers a business card in the corpse of Santa on his front lawn that basically instructs him to put on the Santa costume, and his reindeer will do the rest. And thus begins his journey and ascent to the title of the new Santa Claus. And he now has to navigate his new position while trying to maintain his relationship with his son and estranged wife.
Yeah,
and then everyone realizes he is the true Santa Claus in the end, and peace is restored, and Christmas is saved. Mm-hmm. The end.
Mm-hmm.
I love that it's like the B plot of this movie is actually that he's trying to maintain custody of his son, as his mother and her new beau are convinced that their son has gone mentally insane, as he has spent the entire year like fervently believing that his dad is Santa Claus and he went to the North Pole. And like that's the B plot, is like this like psychiatrist boyfriend being like, this boy needs help, he's deeply deranged. And the other half is like, I'm Santa.
I kind of love that though, because there was a certain grounded quality in this movie, or that this movie had, that Christmas with the Kranks did not have. And I think it's because of stuff like that, where like they treated it as if this was a real world scenario. And what would the repercussions be of this son coming home and being like, my dad is Santa. He took me to the North Pole and we saw elves and we flew all over the world and he squeezed through chimney pipes and blah, 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 blah. Obviously, they'd think he was nuts. And the fact that they explored that, I thought was what gave this movie a bit more heart, maybe, you know what I mean?
I agree.
Yeah, it grounds it. Like, it makes it feel like it's a real world event more than it could have if everyone was just like, silly boy.
Of course he's Santa.
God.
Yeah.
Sean, counterpoint, Christmas with the Kranks.
Christmas with the Kranks is a 2004 real movie that real people spent real time putting together, and some people went and saw it in real theaters. It follows the Crank family. Their daughter Blair has joined. Oh, this fucking movie! Their daughter Blair has joined the Peace Corps, and she's going to Peru. We know this. It's American Thanksgiving, and she flies off to Peru. And both her and her mother is very sad because Christmas just won't be the same, and her father is an asshole. And then her father comes up with the scheme to not do Christmas, to cancel Christmas for him and his wife.
Boycott
Christmas. And they instead are going to take a cruise to the Cayman Islands. They'll save money because they egregiously overspend every holiday, it seems.
$6,000 they spent on Christmas last year.
I'm sorry, if you are someone listening to this and you've spent $6,000 on Christmas, fucking reorganize your life. And then
very generous.
Yeah, very generous. And then the neighborhood, which is a very collective community, they discover that one of their houses is not going to celebrate Christmas, and they plot to force them to do Christmas through various mountings of Frosties and caroling of the bells. And in the end, Blair, surprise, comes home for Christmas after all with her new fiancé, Enrique. And then they last minute have to put on their party that they always do and have to have their ham that Blair loves. And
that's a key plot point. That's actually a really big plot point.
And the community that up to this point has been against them comes together and makes sure that they have the Christmas that the Kranks deserve. The end.
Except it's not the Christmas that the Kranks deserve. It's the Christmas that the street feels that they should have for the betterment of the street.
It's the Christmas that this weird cult really wants this pretty blonde girl to have.
Yeah. That there's a pretty young girl in America who needs everyone to drop everything that they're doing
to
make sure that she's happy.
Yeah.
To get her a ham. Yeah. I really think that you called them like the neighborhood, and I think it's like more appropriate if we just say like the neighborhood.
Yeah, for sure.
As it's like not even a cult, as it is like a weird Stepford Wives, like communist, like uniform Christmas neighborhood.
Yeah.
Where like deviation from tradition means like immediate social ostracism. Ostriches. And
immediate social ostriches. Did you mention that the cult is ran by Dan Aykroyd?
Yeah, I was going to say I should mention Tim Allen is the father, obviously. Jamie Lee Curtis, who is an alum of the show, is the mother.
We saw the beginning of her career in Halloween, and this, I think, definitely the end of her career.
Yeah.
No, she's done a ton of stuff. She just does anything. She just does whatever she wants. I respect Jamie Lee.
Dan Aykroyd is the head of the local community Christmas SS, and sorry, I guess it's more like the Hitler Jugend. Because he
controls
boys,
the children.
Yeah, he controls the children.
Yeah.
And who else is in this? Carolyn Ray is in this. Fucking
Cheech Marin is in this.
Cheech Marin is in this.
Is it pronounced Cheech Marin or is it
Cheech Marin?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Cheech Marin of Cheech and Chong.
Oh shit!
And
What's
with his cop partner, the blonde guy from Starship Troopers.
Yeah,
that's where he's from.
Yeah.
I spent the entire movie being like, "Where the fuck do I know this guy from?"
He looks the same.
Yeah.
It's very weird. It's 30 years later. The guy looks the same. Or 20 years later.
Oh, and Felicity Huffman is in 2 scenes. And I hope she got paid real good.
I don't know who that is.
She was one of the blonde best friends.
Oh, yes. Oh, my God. She clearly didn't care.
Best friends.
And that other woman is Caroline Ray. Is that her name?
Yeah.
Comedian?
Yeah, she's great. I love Caroline Ray.
She's a good
comedian. Is she a comedian? I only know her from Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Absolutely. She's a really good comedian.
Yeah, she's very good, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Dan Aykroyd as himself in this movie as like a crazy old jerk.
Yeah, Dan Aykroyd as the living embodiment of the way we feel about Dan Aykroyd right now.
So we're talking about Kranks. Let's talk Kranks first.
Okay.
Let's do it. This, as I said, is maybe one of the worst movies I've ever seen. I have numerous notes.
I would not give it that moniker.
It cannot be one of the worst movies you've ever seen.
I have.
We watched Driven on this podcast.
We watched
last week.
We just watched Driven on this podcast. There's no way.
You know what though? I would watch Driven before Christmas with the Cranks again.
Shut your
Agreed.
fucking mouth.
Agreed.
Maybe. Okay,
Yeah.
maybe, but that doesn't make it better. That doesn't make it better.
It doesn't make it better. No,
It doesn't make it
this
better.
movie inspired like vitriol in me. Like I have notes that I just would just take a pause to be like, I hate this. I hate this.
Wow.
Like I couldn't.
Well, elaborate. What are these scenes that you hated? Because I actually found that as a general story, I resonated quite a bit with
Daniel.
Tim Allen. Hey, we talked last week. We talked last week about my feelings about Christmas.
Absolutely. I'm in the same boat. But Daniel, there is no meaning for any single choice that any of these people make in this movie. There is
The
no
premise of this movie is the dumbest thing ever conceived. I can't fathom how they did it.
I so strongly disagree. I can definitely relate to the feeling of wanting to be on a beach somewhere during Christmas instead of being forced to spend all my money on presents that nobody cares about and putting on all these fucking airs. Like I think the whole thing is bullshit. So his driving motivation is he realizes it's all bullshit. He realizes he spent $6,000, which is an exorbitant amount of money, on Christmas.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, exaggerated, but who doesn't feel that way every time Christmas is finished? Like I spent way too much money last year. Let's just fucking bail on the whole thing and let's just do whatever we want. I dig that.
Yeah, sure, and you totally can. Like.
Thank you. I'm glad that you've allowed me permission to dig it.
I'll allow it. But the overall boycott that is shoehorned into this film is just becomes frustrating. Like it doesn't make any sense. If they were like, we're just gonna go away on Christmas, and they're leaving on Christmas Day, like they still have Christmas Eve and Christmas morning, and then they would go to the airport. Like it's just this thing of like, and then Tim Allen as like this coercive, controlling, manipulative husband is like, no, Jamie Lee, none of it. There'll be no this and no that. It's like
he didn't want to give money to charity.
Yeah.
he drew the line for his boycott at giving money to the poor.
And it's tricky because I feel like they were trying to manipulate me to be on Tim Allen's side. Like I was supporting him as an atheist, as someone who's like fuck all these like religious zealots out here like saying if you don't conform then you don't belong. Like screw the like I don't like any of his neighbors either. Like I didn't like anyone in this movie except Marty.
Yeah.
Right. You mean Santa Claus?
I mean Santa Claus,
which was the most confusing character for me in this entire film.
Marty,
I had no idea
even
what
Marty
he was
had
doing
his
there.
problems.
I know, but you know what?
I thought he was going to rob the house. I thought Marty was there to rob the place.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
But they had the robber to do that instead. That they had to shoehorn in because they needed some kind of funny thing for the cops to have happen to the cops because they went to pick up Blair at the airport, so they needed some funny thing to happen, and so they ended up getting a robber, and they brought him to the party.
Yeah, that was
there's no structure to this movie. Like stuff just happens, and then nothing really happens as a result, and then it just keeps going.
But the central principle of this film needs to be respected and taught more widely to the youth of our country.
Sure, we should find a different vehicle. We should find a different vehicle for that message than Christmas with the Kranks.
Sure, but I'm just happy someone's talking about it. I'm happy that somebody has the guts.
Nobody's talking about it anymore. This is 2004, and we are done with this film.
No, I'm glad that somebody had the guts to make a movie that took on Christmas.
So you're saying this
for
is
a little while.
Film.
War on Christmas, Dan here.
You're saying this is like Art Nouveau. We're pushing boundaries with this film. We're challenging the political status quo. Yeah.
I want more Christmas movies set clearly during this, like it's filmed in the summer in California, where they put fake snow perfectly around the edges of lawns.
Yeah.
And we're supposed to believe that it's winter, and it clearly never is.
So, did you know this was based on a book called Skipping Christmas? And Skipping Christmas is a book written by John Grisham, who is not a like Christmas holiday author. He is a law and like intrigue author.
Spy guy.
Yeah. A Time to Kill, The Firm, The Pelican Brief, The Client, The Chamber, The Rainmaker, The Runaway Jury, The Partner, The Street Lawyer, The Testament, The Brethren, The Painted House. It's
Of
just
course, John Grisham.
Yeah, of course, John Grisham.
Yeah,
And
we all know it.
to know that he wrote this explains a lot about what made this movie become this movie.
Well, he didn't write the movie.
He didn't write the screenplay, sure.
Yeah. So here's my question then: is the original? Because I imagine the original source material is probably a lot darker. It probably is more of like a war on Christmas story.
I hope there's
and
like
Hollywood
a Soviet spy embedded in the neighborhood or something.
That's fucking Marty. That's for sure Marty.
Yeah, giving away goddamn umbrellas like some fucking communist.
Yeah, fucking commie Santa.
No, he was selling them.
Yeah, he was straight up capitalistically selling those things. So
yeah. In
also,
the rainy Christmas time.
It's California.
Wherever they lived.
That fucking scene. Okay, so they definitely told Jamie Lee Curtis and Tim Allen, we don't have pages for you today, but here's what we need you to achieve with this scene. Go.
You believe they had a script on other parts of this movie?
Maybe. I don't know.
Most lines read as though they weren't even being said to another person in front of them.
Yeah, it's atrocious.
You mean when it's raining in the car?
Yeah, that scene was the first instance of, you don't have words to say, and you've decided you're comedic improv masters. Tim Allen almost gets away with it. Jamie does not ever in this film.
She's so adorable at the very beginning when she thinks she's gonna like have sex with him. It's like almost cute.
She is a fucking cartoon character in this movie.
Yeah,
I have
awful.
Maybe 3 different times. Why is Jamie Lee Curtis so insufferable in this film? Like, she's supposed to be, but oh my good God, I could not stand her in this film.
She's like a baby most of the film.
Just screaming and like
neurotic. A frantic baby who also is like the bitchiest wife.
I don't know. It's so confusing to see actors get worse with age.
Yeah.
You know, like,
are you talking about Jamie Lee Curtis?
Both of them, all of them, everyone in this movie.
I think so watching 2 Tim Allen movies back to back, I don't think that his like general energy as an actor changed at all.
He's the exact same.
He's the exact same, just in different circumstances.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's just better writing. Like maybe he just had better things written for him.
100%. But Jamie Lee Curtis, I think that also this, I have to believe that she was just given the direction of be the nagging wife so that people root for, what was his name? Luther. You know what I mean? Because I've seen her in other stuff, and she is always kind of like kooky. Like that's kind of her thing
screaming.
now.
But usually it's okay. She screams a lot in this movie at nothing. People scream a lot in this movie at nothing.
The gloves getting trapped. So Dan Aykroyd sticks his hands grabs onto the window as she's trying to escape because they're
parka in the summer.
They're assaulting her in her home for not putting up their Frosty the Snowman as usual, and he grabs onto her car as she's driving, and he runs alongside the vehicle, and she puts the window up so his fingers get caught, and he goes ooh, ah, oh, ah, oh, and he pulls his fingers out, and then his gloves are stuck, and she looks at the gloves and has a panic attack.
She screams.
Well, because they've stuck like hands in the window, so she thinks that his hands have come off in the window.
That is a stupid, bad joke.
I thought it was brilliant. You guys are fucked.
Oh no!
No, I'm kidding. It was ridiculous. I'm totally on board with you guys. I know that. Oh, I thought that my backdrop was falling here. 98% of this movie was dog shit, but again, I got to return back to like the central premise. I think it's genius. I was actually angry when they turned it around and they made them have a Christmas party. I was really hoping they would just...
because we put all this investment into believing this batshit premise, and then they just ditch it halfway through the movie.
Yeah,
I wanted the goddamn payoff. I wanted the cruise. I wanted to see the turmoil they go through and the payoff they get.
I wanted to see like a Home Alone-esque energy of them foiling their neighbors as they try to Christmasify to end Christmas their home and their lives, and I wanted them to like be crafty and outwit their neighbors to not have Christmas. Like that's a fun movie.
Yeah.
I was really craving an old man Christmas fight a la The Boys from Brazil between Tim Allen and the dude who lives across the street who keeps calling him old man.
Emmett Walsh, yeah. Brilliant actor.
Yeah.
Emmett Walsh?
Emmett Walsh, yeah.
Emmett.
He's great. What was I going? Oh, I had a point. It's gone.
You were going to talk about the tanning scene, which follows directly after the gloves in the car scene, essentially.
Yeah. So the tanning scene is another scene that was clearly just time filler because they didn't have anything to fill the premise. I'd like to. Maybe it's in the book. Maybe there is a scene in the book where they both go and get tans because they need to be tanned before they go on their Cayman Island vacation.
At the tanning salon,
which is a real thing.
I will
That's
accept
a real
that.
thing. You need to get a base tan before you go
and they
to a
go to the
tropical
mall.
location.
So Jamie Lee Curtis, who, by the way, Jamie, you're stunning at any age. I appreciate everything you've ever done as an actress, and the bravery to put on that bikini in this movie, fucking phenomenal. And so she gets in the tanning bed, and some random dude. It was like an episode of Friends. It was like the episode of Friends where he tries to get a spray tan. The guy wanders in and goes, and she smashes her head off the tanning bed.
She's a spaz.
Because she's a spaz, yeah.
Uh-huh.
And
yeah,
so
because some creepy perv just walked in on her tanning.
Yes, sure. Appropriate reaction to the incident. The incident is not supported by anything. And so she goes out and she asks for a Band-Aid. And
at the front desk, which is open, there's no doors.
To the mall.
It's open to the fucking mall, like the rest of the mall. Like that's...
So she asks for the Band-Aid.
Is that weird for you?
That's very weird.
She asks for the Band-Aid, and... the girl behind the counter is a dum-dum, I guess, is what they want us to feel she is.
She's like, I'm looking.
Yeah, and she's struggling to find the Band-Aid, and their priest walks by, and it's a classic, you're in your underwear in front of a priest moment.
Is the priest Dracula?
Like we've all had.
You're looking awfully delicious. I mean,
He does have a moment, too, where he stares directly at her boobs.
He fully eyes her down and up, and a crowd gathers behind him of just random passersby. It's like, it's people at a tanning salon. Like, what are you looking at, folks? Like,
it's a series. It's a series of people judging other people for things that are absolutely completely normal,
and like not even just normal, but like inconsequential.
However, Daniel. To your point, there were moments in this film that I was laughing uproariously because there was funny shit.
Name one.
All right. I
name
think
all of them.
Name all. I could probably name all of them, to be honest. Let's see. Christmas, the Kranks. Get drunk. I like the amount of alcohol Jamie Lee Curtis is constantly pounding. I think that was a funny choice, probably on her part. She's just constantly guzzling any drink that's in her way.
Okay.
Let's see.
That's it.
Well, let's see. I definitely wrote that I laughed at something.
That's not even like a joke or point in the movie. That's just that you like.
She's an alcoholic.
These people are insane. Vic disappeared. Neighborhood associations are the only collective groups I dislike. Okay. Well, maybe I remember laughing.
Was it when her ham got crushed by the truck?
No.
That was
devastating.
devastating.
The race through the supermarket? Ooh, oh boy. Was it when the robber said, take this, copper? Was it that? What about when the robber was trying to get away and he was stepping on the Christmas lights on their garage roof and they were snapping and he was going, ooh, ah. Was it then? Which funny part was it? Was it when the youngest brother from Malcolm in the Middle said something? I mean, he's like the best actor in this movie, if I'm being honest.
Honestly, yeah.
False. Tim Allen does a fine job in this film, and Cheech Marin is
better.
great.
Tim Allen succeeds on about 60% of the things he does. So it net was a successful movie for him.
I remember. I think the only part that I actually laughed out loud at, not like cackled. I just like, haha, like I made it like a laughing sound. Was when he's trying to put Frosty up eventually, and then Frosty gives him the evil fire eyes just before he pushes him off the roof. I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah.
A counterpoint, I didn't laugh at that.
Yeah, it's clear that you like literally hated everything about this movie.
Oh, I like literally hated just about everything in this movie. Just like,
is that because you hate Christmas? Do you hate Christmas, Jack? Why do you hate Christmas?
I mean, you're the one who's making the "you hate Christmas."
That's true. I'm trying to turn people against you, but I definitely am the hater of Christmas.
I'm
Although I will say,
a candy cane tie around my head.
I'm wearing an elf hat. All right, I help Santa make presents and do other stuff.
And Whoopi,
if you know what I mean. Oh yeah, well that's what I mean.
Yeah.
I will say that after watching The Santa Claus, I'm definitely more on board with Christmas. I hate it less than I did at the beginning of the day.
Cute.
So I have Tim Allen to thank for that. Thank you, Tim.
It's pretty cute.
Yeah, the Kranks, the thing, because I honestly don't have much more to say about it, if I'm really being honest. I just wrote a number of times that I just hated the premise. I don't know why people I don't know why they had to announce to everyone that they weren't doing Christmas, like why he handed out letters. I don't know why.
That was bad. That was why he's an asshole. Like,
the letters make sense.
Right.
He even writes in the letter, I'm not being a dick about this. I'm not going to be sour to you if you wish me a Merry Christmas. I'm just not participating this year.
But that
and I'm
makes
putting
no
you all on
sense.
notice so that none of you decide to buy me something,
Daniel,
knowing that I'm not going to buy you something.
But Daniel, how does he disseminate this information? Does he politely put it in the mailboxes of each of his coworkers, or does he run up to them and shove it in their faces and go?
I mean, it was like somewhere in the middle of those two things.
It was closer to one, though, right?
I would say it was closer to the I'm writing a memo and handing it out to people than it was like me.
Oh, he literally does that to people.
Okay, let me ask you two. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm going to pose this question to the both of you because you two are both very. When you choose a position,
Sensible.
you're very. No, not the word. I was going to say
Reasonable.
thick-headed when it comes to things that you strongly believe in.
Sure.
All right.
Okay, yeah.
All right. Everyone relax. So if you were deciding to skip Christmas, how would you handle it?
How would
you handle it in your workplace? How would you handle it with people who are trying to push Christmas on you? Would you not take a firm position of this is what I am accepting, this is what I'm not accepting, and I'm not going to budge for people?
No, because
same way that I do and don't do things all the time in my life. I just do or don't do them.
Yeah.
I'm a vegetarian, but I don't fucking hand out papers to my friends being like, if you serve me meat at your home, just so you know, I won't be because that'd be fucking crazy.
No, but if you were deciding that you didn't want to partake in Christmas, you would let everybody in your life know not to get you something because you have chosen not to celebrate Christmas. 100%.
Yeah, no,
yes.
You let them
If
know
you
with
say
a
no, you're
memo.
lying, Jack.
But in 2004, you send a company email. You just say hey, just so you know, I'm not going to be partaking in Secret Santa this year. Thanks for respecting this. Happy holidays.
It shouldn't matter. I wouldn't even do that. The point, if people really believe in Christmas, if you give a gift, you don't need to get a gift in return. If you give a gift to Tim Allen.
Oh, you sweet summer child.
I know. My just blatant optimism in the world and people.
That's you.
And that's me. That should be the point of it. I have always despised the obligations of these events. That it's like the truth of the event is that if you want to give someone a gift, give them a gift. You know what I mean? If you're expecting a gift, I think you're a bit of a dick.
But clearly people in his workplace were expecting a gift because the very first thing that anyone says to him in his office is, I have to go to Walmart now and buy a shitty bottle of perfume because Santa's not coming this year. So that's the atmosphere in the workplace that the expectation is give and get gifts.
So what? Willing to just be different and just be like, sorry, Cheryl, get over it. Like, whatever.
And also, when the scouts arrive to sell you the Christmas tree, like always, pay the $70 for the Christmas tree. You're still coming out even. When they say, "Could you put up Frosty?" You just put up Frosty because who gives a shit?
Oh
Honestly,
my God.
who gives a shit?
I call absolute bullshit on both you guys, man.
Who gives a fucking shit?
I think that if you had decided to take a firm position, either one of you, on
but the firm position
on
is
anything,
bad shit.
Yeah, it
doesn't
doesn't
matter.
make sense.
We're talking about what doesn't make sense about it?
His
I'm deciding
line
to not
where
celebrate
he draws
Christmas.
where he draws Christmas is absurd.
It doesn't make.
I don't know.
any sense.
I think it's about sticking to your guns when you've made a decision and not being forced into anything. He goes out of his way to make it. He makes a point of saying this isn't about anybody except for the way that me and my family are deciding to celebrate or deciding to live this year.
Yeah,
and we're
then
just
he
not going to
shoves
get
it in
pressured.
people's faces. He
How?
literally shoves the memo in people's faces.
Yeah, like the literal
he
memo
politely
shoving.
hands them out at work. Okay, fine.
No, he
fine,
does
fine,
not.
Fine. His method of delivery may be questionable.
Incredibly questionable.
The action of putting everybody on notice, I totally agree with.
But why do you have to put
And
people
Dan,
on notice?
Because
Dan,
we've
look.
talked about this. You're at work, and the expectation is we're all going to hand out gifts, and if you don't participate, you're a dick. And even by him saying I'm not participating, he's a dick. So he is reading the room. Go ahead, Jack. Sorry, I feel very passionate about this.
Yeah, but I agree with you, but I believe that if you want to stand up for yourself, you have to be willing to accept that people aren't going to like it and they're going to think you're a dick. Like, that's part of it. You have to be like, I'm not doing it. And if they're like, why didn't you do that? He's like, well, I'm not doing Christmas. And they'd be like, what? I'm like, yeah. Like, just don't, you don't have to do that. But I also agree with you, Dan. Like, and kind of my point is I'm not on the side of like anyone else in this movie. I hate everyone in this movie. I hate what Tim Allen and Jamie Lee Curtis are doing and how they acted it and how they performed it. And anything that was written or unwritten for them to say. And I hate the neighbors and I hate what they're doing. I hate everything in this movie. That's what I'm trying to tell you. There is no part of this movie that I found enjoyable, except a little bit in Marty, because it was just random and silly that this guy that like Jamie Lee Curtis meets at the liquor store and is like, yes, you're Nora, right? And he's like weird. And you think he's like maybe a bit like kooky. And then she invites him to the party because she needs guests. And then he shows up and he knows everyone and he speaks Spanish with the fiance and whatever. And then you realize, oh, he was the Santa guy from the beginning. And it's like, it's random, but it was like a breath of fresh air of the bullshit of this movie.
He's the only character that read the script and understood what his role was.
Yeah.
And if he just did that performance in a film with everyone else being better than they were, this like... it would have been fine because he did his role properly. It's everyone else around him. With I think M. Emmett Walsh and his wife Bev. I quite enjoyed.
Yeah,
Bev was fantastic. I think Bev. She had like 6 seconds of screen time. No,
Easy.
I cannot. You should have
Damn
seen me
boy.
while I was watching her, dude.
He
Holy fuck.
physically cannot. Yeah.
Yeah. No, she was
they were
on.
good.
She was on screen for like 5 seconds, and I thought that she was awesome.
Okay. I only have 2 things to say about this film, and then I'm pretty much done. One
I have
is
3 pages. You guys, okay?
But no, that's fair. We can talk about it all you want.
Okay.
Within the hour.
What are your things?
It's the cat. The cat was abominable. It made me physically angry every time it was there on screen.
Yes.
Also, the Botox scene? Question mark.
I missed that scene. I
was just
saw
for the
next
trailers.
scene when he
You
had
missed the
Botox.
Botox?
What was there a scene where he actually got Botox? Because I just saw the
No.
next scene where he just had
No,
the
that's
Botox.
all you see.
Yeah.
That's all you see. And then he suddenly doesn't have Botox
Yeah,
because it was
right.
a little bit that I'm sure they were like, real funny, right? And then he doesn't have Botox anymore.
They were like, this will be funny in the trailer.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. This movie was made for a trailer.
It was based off of trailer material.
Mm-hmm.
It essentially is one long trailer. Like, it's just shit happening. Like, it doesn't even end when it should end. Like, she's come home, which I found annoying as well. Like, the daughters come home and they should have just been like, Blair, that's so great, but
we
you
paid
can't just come
$3,000 for a trip. And
yeah, you
so,
can't just
like,
come home
you
unexpectedly.
should have
That's
told
not how-
us.
You should have told us. No one's going to be here. So
Also,
that was really foolish.
Also, I'm questioning your life choices, Blair. You've known this guy for 6 seconds and you're marrying him? Let's have that discussion.
She's clearly not the brightest knob in the closet.
Yeah. So she comes home and whatever, the whole neighborhood comes together and throws a Christmas party. And there's a whole stupid side plot with the cops that is just horrible too. And then, but the party happens, and then Tim Allen does the good thing. He goes over, and there's a really not even just like it's too long, but
So
it's like
long.
full of dead air of him giving the tickets to the people across the street, to the old couple.
I'll defend that scene.
Sean, you shouldn't. It goes on.
Oh, hit me right in the heart.
Oh,
Did it really?
I mean, the sentiment is great, but the scene is bad.
The scene needed to happen, but it was way too much of like, just take the fucking tickets, and then being
Yes,
like,
of course.
no,
It's
and
like
then being
90 seconds at least of him being like, no, but seriously. And they're like, oh, wait. And he's like, no, but the tickets, like, take them. It's a lot.
I'll take care of the tickets. And then he gets to the point where he's like, you guys are having a really bad time making excuses.
Yeah.
Just take the tickets.
The screenwriter, after writing 95% of this script, like read a book about screenwriting and was like, oh, like usually there are like obstacles. So I'm gonna write some into this scene here. Looky
They
here.
don't want to take the tickets. There's an obstacle.
But our names aren't on them. I'll take care of that tomorrow.
But what about the cat? Which was what the whole point of that scene was, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, the cat, the oh so sweet cat payoff. The big question I want to ask, and I asked this out loud, loudly when watching with Miranda, who is this movie for?
Families.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a movie in 2004.
Do kids like this movie?
Like straight up, I bet my parents rented this being like, it's the new Christmas movie, and I bet we all sat in the living room, and I bet we all watched it, and I bet we didn't particularly enjoy ourselves, but it was like a family thing we all did together.
I would
You're
argue this
describing how
movie-
Christmas movies work and how they make money at all.
enough.
They don't have to be a good movie as long as they're about Christmas.
So there's your answer.
Okay. Okay.
I would argue this movie is for guys like me who are really struggling with the concept of Christmas and need some validation about how they feel.
Okay.
Honestly, like if you have found some joy out of this in the season from this movie, then I'm very happy we watched these films.
Okay, I mean, no, I didn't.
It just reaffirmed his hatred of the season.
Okay.
Right. I was actually like, I don't like how the movie finished. I don't like that they ended up celebrating Christmas. I think a lot of this movie was a benign mess, or should I say malignant mess? But
yeah.
You should. Yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
I just found myself very strongly relating to, again, his name was Luther Krank.
Luther
in
Krank.
his desire to just skip Christmas.
Right, Tim. Wait, should we switch over? Are we nearing?
Let's please.
I found one more thing that made me laugh in this movie.
Okay.
And it was the cops' signs waiting for Blair and Ricky at the airport.
Did that make you laugh, Dan?
Really?
It did.
Dan.
It did. I thought it was really funny. Fuck you
like
guys.
Cheech-
Fuck you guys.
Cheech must have owed a favor to
No.
whoever.
What
I
else
think
does
Cheech
Cheech
needed
do?
money.
Yeah, Cheech isn't like a strong character actor that is always
No,
working.
but he's one of the most successful comedians of the late 20th century. So I don't know if he really needs.
Is he one of the most
Yeah.
successful comedians of the late 20th
That's a
century?
big thing to say.
Cheech and Chong. They tour all the time.
Dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that means that anyway.
I'm saying the boomers keep them well stocked, I think.
Okay. I'm gonna counter that with something that I remember hating in the movie for many reasons, which is when the cops, I don't know, they're not doing something for Tim Allen. They're like arresting him because they think he's stealing his neighbor's tree.
Yeah.
And one of them says, "Should have bought a calendar."
Mhm.
Fuck those guys. Fuck the whole movie. Fuck everyone in it.
And then Dewey from Malcolm in the Middle, who he runs away when he's getting arrested, but then he just comes back and he's like, oh, yeah, there's no need for this scene to happen because he's right.
Here are the keys.
Yeah.
Has Dewey ever worked again? What
He stopped after he did a couple things after Malcolm in the Middle, and then he just retired from acting.
Wasn't he in like Joe Dirt? Wasn't he the son in that movie?
Funnily enough, I was watching a compilation of all of the guttural throat sounds of Tim Allen from Home Improvement for some reason, and little
This
Dewey.
is before we announced this podcast, right?
This was like 6 or 7 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And little Dewey
It's been a long quarantine.
He plays a Boy Scout who Tim Allen teaches the wisdom of the Yeah.
In Home Improvement?
In Home Improvement.
I loved Home Improvement as a kid, by the way.
Oh, so did I, yeah. I was on every day.
I'm not gonna pretend otherwise. But let's get on to something. I mean, maybe more positive for Sean and I. I think maybe for Dan, terrible because it's about Christmas. Although you said it made you love Christmas.
I've said twice now that this movie made me feel great.
Right. Daniel,
can you calm down? Daniel, I know you're angry about these films, but can you just fucking calm down?
Yeah, you need to put that aside.
Sean, I'm trying to tell you that I'm actually in a really great mood.
Sorry, I didn't mean to laugh at that so much.
That's okay. That's okay. I thought it was good. It was part of the bit. It means that my part in that bit landed.
Yeah.
No, I love this movie, man. I mean, I'm somebody who there's like 3 Christmas movies that I know of that I can tolerate at all.
Name
Probably
them.
Scrooged with Bill Murray,
Fair. Yep.
which is like classic. The Grinch with Jim Carrey.
So glad it's on there. No, Sean, it's good.
Yeah,
watch it
it's
again.
Great.
It's really good.
His character work in that movie is fucking
Next year.
Mwah.
Next year.
And this movie. Like Elf doesn't even make the list. I watched Elf.
Yeah, Elf is hit and miss, eh?
Yeah, I watched it like 6 months ago. There was like a good period in the middle of quarantine where Marisa just like shoved Christmas movies down my throat.
So weird.
Yeah, I mean she loves them and they make her feel good. I mean, like she honestly sat down to watch this movie, to watch the Santa Claus, and was in tears in like 5 minutes. Like it just brings her so much joy, which I think is adorable. I love it.
That's very cute.
But like even Elf, like I watched Elf all the way through, and that is like a classic. Like there's a thing on Netflix right now about Elf being one of the holiday movies that like shapes our generation.
Yeah,
doesn't do it for me.
That's okay.
But this movie, it's sweet, it's heartwarming. It kind of in a weird way, like there's a lot of plot holes off the top, but like I wasn't like, I don't know, I just liked it. I mean,
it's a very simple movie. It is just movie. It is Christmas movie.
It's very streamlined.
Yeah.
In kind of a nice way. Like there's no extra fat on this one because he gains weight. It's very like, and that's very like satisfying. Like it's a very clean movie in that way.
I mean, it ignores literally all logic. Like it sets itself up in the very beginning, and like there's so many plot holes with it that it makes 0 sense.
So Santa is real.
Santa's real, number one.
But nobody.
And of course, that's true. But
Santa isn't so much real as he's. What did I write? He's like a sort of. He's like a parasitic curse that takes over a new host.
That.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. The mantle of Santa Claus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not that he's real. It's not just that he's real, but it's also this curse that takes over new hosts.
I would very much like to see the prequel movie that probably is a horror movie where this Santa is like absorbed by the suit because he accidentally kills the old Santa and it like latches onto him and he's forced to live this perpetual existence as a like slightly mostly overweight cookie and milk eater.
For thousands of years, and he actually didn't. He wasn't startled off the roof. He actually killed himself.
Yeah. He's like, an opportunity. Yeah.
He's up there on the roof, like banging on the roof, making a lot of noise.
Kill me!
As soon as he comes out, I'm gonna slip and die.
Well, so here's my first problem with the whole premise of this film. They established that the bag of gifts lifts Santa out of the sleigh, down the chimney, back out of the chimney, back onto the sleigh. So why was Santa standing on the roof?
But there's also some autonomy. Same way like Tim Allen could walk around.
Sure, but it looked like he was like trying to replace bricks or something. Like there was no...
Yeah. Because he was trying to kill himself, Daniel.
Right.
He definitely
Okay.
wanted to die.
I mean, I'm okay to go
Jesus.
in that direction and talk about this movie going forward as though this whole thing was a suicide plot.
was a horrible, mistimed
I
suicide.
mean,
Yeah.
it is the craziest thing that like they managed to convince us was like fun as kids. That like he startles Santa Claus, he slips off the roof and dies. But in order to not scare us as kids that like, oh my God, Santa's dead, they have the Santa who's like face is covered, he's covered in snow. They have his hand wave to him, like
Yeah, but that's
creepy
horrifying.
corpse wave.
Yeah.
This is that like I wrote, what a horrific children's film.
Yeah,
This is you kill Santa and then like he's dead, and then before he disappears, his corpse waves at you.
It waves at you and then he disappears and the clothes remain. And
Yeah.
and is that only because the body was still there and it wasn't until he had read the business card that then it was official? Because I never also as a kid never understood the pun of the Santa Claus that like
Well, they highlight that immediately. Though.
oh do they right?
Which is like pretty clever.
Yeah, of course.
It's kind of funny.
Yeah,
I
it's
forgot all about it.
1994 clever. Yeah,
I forgot all about it, and then when I heard it again this time around, I was like, "Oh fuck, that's good."
It doesn't make you laugh, but it makes you kind of go like, okay, that's okay.
Yeah.
Oh, fun. Okay,
This-
that's kind of
I,
This movie-
I keeled over, man. I thought it was just like
this movie
gutbuster.
absolutely is responsible for me spelling Santa Claus with an E for like most of my life.
Is it not always spelled with an E?
No, it's just an S, I think, isn't it?
I don't know. I always spell it with an E.
Well, if Santa Claus can please tell us how he would like us to spell his name.
You can email us at
CK.
Citizen Kane Verkus.
Verklaus.
Citizen Kern Verkus.
So he reads the card and that makes it official and that makes the body disappear. But if he didn't take the business card, is that Santa dead or did him reading the card cause that previous Santa to be dead?
Actually, I think Stephen
Or like-
Hawking. If you read A Brief History of Everything in chapter I think 3, paragraph 4, Stephen Hawking explains how Santa is a perpetual essence that just it is constant through time and space.
So does him reading the business card cause him to not exist anymore?
Yes.
Or so like Santa had just fallen and was just lying still in the snow until Tim Allen read that card and that fucking made that old Santa go away.
It's filled with Christmas magic.
Christmas magic. There's a business clause that's really important to Christmas. That's the thing to take away from this movie.
That's Santa's brother. Business.
It's a pretty weird thing. And it's this movie.
Thank you, Daniel.
That was good. That was really good.
There's a lot that this movie does really well and is really fun. And we'll talk about some of those things, I imagine. But the other thing that this movie really fails on is that we mentioned how it's like kind of grounded and they have people respond in what would be like a more real way about like the son, like believing that these things really happened the previous Christmas and that his dad's Santa Claus, yada, yada.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all fine and well. But then this movie does repeated things that's like, how could this society possibly not believe that Santa Claus is real?
That was my big issue with it too. Like if Santa exists, everybody knows he exists. There is no debate about it.
How do you
Because
explain the kayak?
Parents will yearly wake up and see more presents under the tree than there were when they went to sleep.
Fucking Santa's real.
Yeah.
Like the gag, I love that they did it and it's fun. It's practical. They actually have him like they have the bag on the floor and he pulls a full kayak out of it and it's a fun practical gag. It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The whole
But I'm like-
floor, yeah.
But like the more you have the kayak, then it's like the less you can have people like not believing that this person is real. It just makes no sense. And then also him, not to even to mention him at the end of the movie, just like flying in his sleigh in front of whole neighborhoods of people, being like, "I'm Santa, ho ho ho."
Well, that was my thing too. I was like, what time of night is he doing his rounds to deliver presents? Because I'm pretty sure the whole idea is that he's supposed to be doing it when people are asleep. But when he gets arrested, there's a lot of people on the road.
Oh, he does his little like Michigan town, and then I think he says he's in like Long Island or something at one point. So he hits like literally 2 places on Christmas night.
No, but I mean, what time of night is he doing it? I part of the issue is that he's clearly doing it too early because everybody is seeing him get arrested and then fly around.
Yeah. That's what I mean. It just like it doesn't make any sense. And it's not. You're not supposed to think about it. That is what it is.
But that's like I kept writing like this is a children's film. This is a kids movie. It's and it effectively like yes. I would suspend my disbelief just based purely on it being a kids film. So it gets points for it.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of silly for us to sit here and be like and try to poke holes in the logic of a movie about Santa Claus.
Yeah. I mean, I'll poke holes in a few things.
And don't get me started on Barney's Big Adventure, because that fucking purple dinosaur has another thing coming.
Oh, yeah. Oh, watch out, Barney. We're coming for you. Yep.
Does he have a Christmas special? I don't know about this.
Ted's not with us. It's okay.
No, sorry.
We're just talking about how... Anyway.
Okay, great.
Yeah, this movie does a lot of things really well, though. It's... I like even like random things like the casting. I love that the dude the stepdad is like the designated stepdad of the 90s. Is he the same stepdad in Liar Liar?
Judge Reinhold?
Oh my God, he is.
Right? He was bad in this film.
He's fine. He doesn't break the movie. Judge Reinhold. Also Judge that Reinhold. Name though. Isn't that crazy?
Judge. My name is Judge. Yeah.
His name is Judge Reinhold.
Judge Reinhold. I have great memories of Judge Reinhold from Beverly Hills Cop, and this movie made me very sad.
And also, what's the one? The Fugitive and U.S. Marshals. He's in that, I think.
Is
Harrison Ford?
No, he's one of Tommy Lee Jones's team.
I think you're thinking of Tommy Lee Jones, Jack.
No, Judge.
No, I think Judge Reinhold.
That was Tommy Lee Jones.
Tommy Lee Jones as Santa Claus.
I would watch that movie.
Ooh, dark. I'm in.
Yeah.
No, I think
directed
Tommy Lee
by
Jones,
Christopher Nolan.
That's the sequel movie. That's Tommy Lee Jones is the Santa that Tim Allen kills.
Oh, the prequel.
That would be great.
He's like a frontier era like human being.
No,
literally, and he has to like live grumpily through like 3 centuries.
Literally, No Country for Old Men.
Yeah. But some of the things this movie did well, in my opinion, is like I enjoyed the progression of like the sequence of him being kind of not even quite like neglectful, as you said, Dan, but just like a failing. Like he's just not capable in certain ways that kind of lets his son down. But it does funny things like the pullback. Like it's a fun like camera, like a fun visual bit of like the dinner spread. And then it pulls back and it's a TV. And then it pulls back to his dinner spread even more. And it's like burnt
I
things.
thought that was and like
so
well
weird
done.
stews.
Yeah.
Like that's all fun. And then the cut to that, and then them going to Denny's and him doing little head nods to all the other like single dads out there with their kids. That was very funny and like kind of sweet.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of moments that are quite endearing.
Well, even the setup for that scene, the cut to Denny's, it cuts from Tim Allen being like, Denny's, it's an American institution. And then cut to a room full of like Japanese people just yelling at each other.
Yeah. Are you with the Osakis? And he's like, no.
No, I burnt my turkey. Oh, okay, follow me.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of fun stuff that you say it's a kid's movie, but like it's stuff that's generally good enough that like I enjoyed it. Miranda fucking loved it. She had forgotten that she'd seen this movie, and her realizing that this was the movie that she loved as a kid and had like forgotten about was so like sweet and also so funny, because it was like I watched a movie just like this, but it was like and it was like this whole like this like very quick unraveling / like raveling, I guess, of realizing what it was, and then cutting from like not knowing the movie to like being able to quote and like predict things that were going to happen in the movie.
I should say so. When I found my completely and totally legal stream, there was Santa Claus 3. And then next to it was The Santa Claus, and then another one that was labeled The Santa Claus. So I clicked on The Santa Claus, and I started watching it. And it was this long scene. We zoom in on the North Pole, and we see the elves making toys, and we see the reindeer, walking through the North Pole compound.
Oh my
And
God.
I was like, oh, cool. All right. So we're seeing Santa before Tim Allen kills him. Nice. Cool. And it turns out I watched the first 15 minutes of Santa Claus 2, and it was just mislabeled on my completely and
that's
totally
funny.
legal stream.
That's funny.
It was quite the switcheroo, if I do say so myself.
I thought you were going to say something
Spoilers.
more like you accidentally found a stream to a freaky Christmas porn that had a really elaborate setup.
No,
That would have
but
been a funnier story.
The best friend character from Corner Gas he's an Arctic plane pilot that encounters the North Pole. So that's the opening of Santa Claus 2. Yeah.
No spoilies.
I realized my mistake when Fat Tim Allen suddenly appeared. Yeah.
That's also insensitive.
Wait a second.
Also, fun fact about casting, which is something I thought this movie did really well. The guy who plays Tim Allen's boss, Peter Boyle,
Yeah.
comes back.
We've seen him before.
Comes back in the Santa Claus 3 as Father Time. He pulls double duty in this world.
He's I think he's in Santa Claus 2 as well. I think I saw his name in the credits.
As the boss.
And
Yeah,
where did we
yeah.
see him before?
He was in Taxi Driver.
Yeah.
He's one of the taxi drivers.
the guy he goes to for advice about
Oh
being a
yeah,
taxi
he's
driver.
like Wizard or whatever they call him.
Yeah.
Right. Oh
Yeah.
my God.
And most famously, most famously, he's the dad in Everybody Loves Raymond. But
Yeah,
most
that's where I know him
famously, he's Frankenstein in Young Frankenstein.
Is he really?
Sorry, he's the monster. He's the monster in Young Frankenstein.
Oh yeah.
I've never seen Young Frankenstein, but I.
We're gonna see it.
Oh, we should fix
Do
that.
you have one lined up for that?
I can easily line something up.
Versus I Frankenstein. Didn't we tease that one?
Yeah, definitely. That is definitely
That's the one
the combo, right?
with
Oh,
Aaron
dear.
Eckhart,
That's
who
the one.
decided to make that weird movie in when his career was kind of peaking.
Yep. And it killed him a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like Paul Bettany when he did Legion and Priest.
Yeah, they were on the same
yeah.
2
Legion's
years.
fun. Anyways.
I haven't seen them.
I've seen them more than I would like to admit. I also thought Rose Shuckik Ladder Company, or what was it?
Yeah.
From the poem. Yeah. From
Yeah.
the Night
Yeah.
Before Christmas. Yeah.
He was like, "It's a rose, such a clatter." He's like, "Oh, what's a rose shucka ladder?"
I'm not.
Oh, he said, "What's
quite
a
sure.
clatter?" Or he was like, "What is that?" And then Tim Allen's like, "What is what?" And he's like, "A ladder." And he's like, "No, it's a clatter, loud noise." And he has this whole explanation of the line, "A rose, such a clatter," and
And he
then
thought it was a rose, such a rose,
clatter.
suchic, a rose, suchic ladder.
right
And then
from the
a
Rose
ladder
Such a
appears
Ladder Company.
saying that it was made by the Rose Suchic Ladder Company. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Clever
is like-
stuff.
You know, kind of like as a kid, like I don't remember that at all as a kid, but as an adult, and I'm like, that's just like stupid and silly enough for me to be like, oh, that's quite, it's sweet. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like it gives the right energy to the movie of like that the rules that you want to apply to like logic aren't the rules that apply to Christmas
No.
magic,
No.
which is like the right note you want to hit, I think, for these kinds of movies.
In a movie that has no logic running through it.
Yeah.
Right. I do want to just touch on the negligence of Scott Calvin's doctor, who sees his patient coming in,
fine.
who is
gained
gaining
100 pounds.
overnight and has gone completely gray, and whose hair is growing at exponential speeds.
And he's like, you're past
And
40.
He's like, "Well, you're eating too many cookies, man." And-
Yeah.
I'm a doctor.
yeah. That's all I have to say about that.
That's it.
Yeah. I just wanted to.
It's a
bring
silly
it up for the
scene to have
funny.
included. Like they,
But they
the
needed
scene,
to.
The
Like
scene
he
makes
had
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like obviously you're gonna go to the doctor
yeah.
if you wake up like that, but then have your doctor be like, "No, you're fine. You just
and
hormonal.
It
'cause you're
lacks the
fat."
grounded thing that we mentioned from before, though, of people responding in realistic ways, as opposed to the doctor being like,
Yeah.
"This is deeply concerning.
I'm gonna
and
send you for a battery of tests.
Yeah, you need to be sent. Like, we need to get you to the hospital right away."
Yeah.
And the boardroom scene also suffers from that, where he walks in and everybody's like, "Oh man, you're so fat! Look how fat you
And his
are."
boss is like, "You need to get it together. Like, go on a diet, see a counselor, get it together. And you're like, well, he's the
You're
same weight as you, dude. Like, they're the same size
But
human.
it's because he's suddenly fat and defending Christmas, which is why the boss
And,
freaked out in the first
loudly
place.
eating pudding or whatever.
Yeah.
That's not. And we're so okay. So Miranda, I thought this was weird, but she was like, no, I think that's a thing sometimes. We both don't know. We've never worked in any sort of corporate setting. So they were ordering lunch at their boardroom meeting from like a waiter who had menus. Is this a thing? Can people please write us and tell us if this is a thing?
I'd assume that like a lot of buildings where companies are housed have restaurants and stuff that are in the lower floors. So I think it's not beyond reason that you would, if you were powerful enough, you could like pay the restaurant to have someone come up for your lunch orders and bring them up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm gonna stand by that. Okay.
Great. That's fine. That's fine. I'm saying that's fine. It's just not pictured anywhere else in any media, and that's the only way that I know how the world works, I guess. I never heard
Mad Men. Watch Mad Men. There's a few instances where
I'm not going to watch Mad Men, Sean.
It's worth it.
I've heard Mad Men is really good.
Yeah, it's very good.
Is it? Are you sure?
Yeah, it's quite good.
Is it better than Christmas with the Kranks?
Is it? That's too much dead air. So, the thing that I will give a shout out also in this movie is, it has that charm, especially watching it with like in the current age. It's fun to see one like the really bad CGI of the 90s. That's like very funny, mixed with like the charming practical effects of the 90s, which are charming.
I appreciated it all, like how selective they were with the CG. I thought they were spot on with everything.
They put a lot of money into making a whole 8 animatronic reindeer.
Yep.
Essentially just for like some fart gags and stuff. But
and do you know where their live counterparts came from? The real reindeer?
Oh no.
The Toronto Zoo.
Hey, fucking yes!
Because it was filmed fucking
That's
here.
where we live.
Because when they pull into the Denny's, there's the beer store. Remember when the beer store had the big orange shield signs?
Yeah.
There's a big the beer store sign right over the Denny's that they pull into.
Was it filmed on a black soundstage in Toronto?
I think it was filmed in a like shitty suburb around Toronto.
Oh, it's definitely a soundstage, Sean, because it's like
know.
If you watch Sean, what? Because they also do a lot of wire work in this movie, which is very funny and charming.
The North Pole is absolutely a soundstage,
but the house and stuff most of it is a soundstage too.
Sure.
All the stuff on the roof, because it's like him being lifted right on wires with the bag, and it's very blatant. Like once you clock it, like they try to cover it by having all the trees around the houses he lands at just covered with Christmas lights. Like every pine tree in the neighborhood is covered with lights, but behind that is just a black void. There's no like further neighborhood. There's no further trees. It's straight up Truman Show, like end of the world right there. So it's quite funny, but it's also quite charming.
Then it would have been in Toronto. Yeah.
Yeah. But I also love the practical set they built for Santa's workshop. And I love that they had like various scenes of people running around and like running to places. And they filmed it by just putting the camera. They only had like 2 hallways. They put the camera in different places and had them run towards it and away from it, up and down the same hallways. And if you're not a child, you can tell. But as a kid, it's like doesn't matter, and it's awesome. But so I love that they did that, and the toy shop stuff was great.
Yeah,
great.
I thought that the general casting of young actors in this movie was phenomenal.
Yeah,
that kid. I don't know what else
the
son has done, but he was dope.
A bunch.
I know the guy who plays Bernard was a little older. Obviously, he wasn't quite a child. I think they just kind of dressed him up like one. But the girl who plays the little elf that brings him hot chocolate, who spent 1,200 years perfecting her recipe,
Judy.
Like brilliant casting.
Yeah.
What a perfect face. So like it's crazy. She really did look 7 and 7,000 at the same time.
Totally.
Like,
I remember
unbelievable.
that face so well from my childhood.
Yeah.
Oh.
I forgot that there's that weird line of like, "You look good for your age." It's
yeah,
like, no,
that's
she
one of those.
doesn't.
That's
She's
one of
a
those.
child.
Tim Allen improv'd it in the scene, and they were like, "Well, we should probably use the take that Tim Allen."
There's
improv'd
nothing weird about that. He was. The whole idea is that he's like, "What the
There's a
fuck
lot
is going
with
on?
that.
You're 12,000 years old. Wow,
I think
you look
that's
great."
it's a funny joke. It's the awkward like moment of like wow afterwards that makes the joke feel like out of place in the scene.
The joke about him seeing somebody and rapping.
No. What he says like. He says like, "Oh, well, you look good for your age." Yeah, and then she says that, and then he has this like face as he drinks hot chocolate, and it just paces the scene wrong.
Oh, I don't know. I think that the whole joke there is the fact that she misunderstands what he's trying to say and takes it as him flirting, when in actuality he is not. It's an innocent comment about the fact that this child looks like, you know what I mean?
It's funny. I think it's funny.
I thought it was funny. That it was cute.
It's essentially fine. I will stand by that it's weird.
Yeah.
As you fling your hair tie back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'll fight you on that one because I think it's completely innocent and harmless.
Totally.
I think it's only weird. I think it's only weird because you're projecting, Jack. You're projecting your own weird. I'm not gonna.
Yeah, no, this is a dark place to take this podcast.
I'm gonna stick to my opinion of it, remembered through all of time in this recording, and I'll let yours be yours.
Great.
Okay.
So
just know that you're wrong.
I think the actual star of this movie, to me, the person who like went above and beyond anything that was deemed necessary, is Wendy Crewson as his ex-wife, because in every single scene where she has to have like an emotional turnaround moment, she just goes for it and doesn't give a shit about the fact that literally everyone else in the movie around her is just doing the bare minimum to make this movie be like a palatable Disney film. She launches herself into every fucking monologue she has, and it was stunning.
She's fine.
Yeah.
She has a monologue that's weird. She's like tearing up, being like, "I just wanted secret dating game," or whatever.
It is weird, but when you look at everyone else who's half-assing their way through this film,
I think Tim Allen is trying.
Sure.
Yeah, Tim Allen has a
good.
warm,
He's good at the
charming
one-liners.
performance.
He's at the height of home improvement in this film. He's working every day. He's hot on it. But I think like Wendy Crewson, I don't honestly, I have no idea what else she's in. I've heard her name a lot. I can't place her from anything else, but she really impressed me in this film.
I liked the leader of the elf SWAT team.
Yeah, that was a weird one. But we can't talk about it anymore.
No, we are going to quickly talk about it. Let's put it in our next segment really quick. That's what we'll do. We'll talk about it there. So the timer just means we need to shut up and move on to our next segment, which is called Likes and Grapes. Or essentially likes and grapes. We just air anything that we didn't. Anything that we didn't say in the main chunk of the discussion podcast, we just quickly get out there now as likes and gripes to get it done with. So I'm going to kind of start by following Dan's point, though, of how much I liked in a way that was a bit too much, but I like what he was doing was too much, but I thought it was really fun and I was laughing at it.
Such a cool little dude.
The SWAT elves were awesome. Them, like as a kid, that's the coolest shit ever. Them flipping away and flying.
Coolest shit ever.
So still cool now.
That's locked in my memory. That whole sequence of them leaving the North Pole.
And it's not even like that. They don't do much at all, but they just like made sure that they're like flying out of the North Pole, like tactical deployment, and then whatever. Like it's so cool. But the leader of them has this like weird like California fuck me voice where he's like, yeah, we're gonna like, don't worry, we got you from here. Yeah, we'll take care of everything. We're elves. And you're like, why is this kid trying to sex up everyone in the room? He's like, yeah, elves, we're hard to handle. And it's a lot.
So that's your only like from this film, Jack? It's very weird.
That's my only like
weird,
that I
man.
didn't. There were other just likes. I like that in a way the North Pole is like a tired bureaucracy of like, look, the paperwork clearly says. I think it's kind of like funny and brutal. It scared me, the like weird fascism chant of the elves when like they started singing one of the Christmas songs and then they all chimed in like blank faced together. That creeped me out, but it was funny. What was this? Oh yeah, all the elves live underground for all eternity. I find that essentially sad. Their whole city is underground, and they show that. It's kind of a bummer. Yeah. But big shout out to the prosthetics in this movie are amazing. Tim Allen, you cannot tell that he's in prosthetics. You cannot tell that he's in a fake beard. You can't tell. Like, it is fan-frickin-tastic. And that effort makes all the difference in this movie because you have to buy that to buy this movie, and it's so good.
Yep.
Yeah. That's it.
No gripes?
I don't know if I have any gripe. I mean, I gripe a little bit with some of the premise stuff, but honestly, not much in this movie.
Daniel, do you want to go or should I?
I'll go.
Okay. Oh no, the COVID.
Oh no,
Rona, the kids call it.
Don't tell anybody I have it. I think my only real gripe is the fact that it seems unlikely to me that Santa has never fallen off of a roof before. But also the fact that in this film the predecessor Santa falls into a gigantic snow pile and dies.
Snow is soft. That's science.
Snow is soft, and he's not even like all the way to the ground when we see him lying in the mound of snow. So it makes zero sense that that would kill him. I like that they threw in a little drug humor for the adults when the kid is like, "Dad, you're flying," and he's like, "It's okay, I'm used to it. I survived the '60s."
Yeah, that's a funny joke.
Yeah.
Funny joke.
And
the shot with the kid and the puppy just laughing in the back of the sleigh. Oh, big like.
That was
How
so cute.
to embody cuteness. Fuck.
That was super cute, and that moment was made better for me because at that exact moment I looked down and Evie, my girlfriend's dog, was just like lying with her head on my lap, and I was like, "Oh,
disgusting."
Also, my final like is the stop and frisk order for all mall Santas in the area in this movie.
For that was actually the gripe linked to this, which is the full SWAT team that's deployed.
Well, a kid is missing.
To kill Santa.
Yeah.
It's not to kill Santa. A child has been abducted.
Right. To kill the child's father. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a lot and ridiculous. And the police in all Christmas movies, I realized, are a bit weird.
Elf. Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, that's it. I'm done. That's all I got.
Right. Likes and gripes for the Santa Claus. Likes Judge Reinhold's watch pointing in that first scene where he's in the car and he's just like, look at my watch. Perfect. I don't know what this means, but I wrote the third degree burns, fireman, and faces.
You mean when it's a random cut? It's introducing that it's like bring your parent to school day. And it's just one of the kids' parents is a firefighter. So it cuts to him at the front of the class being like, and that's why you don't ever want to get third degree burns.
And all the kids are like, Arr!
And then the teacher is like, sorry about your partner. And then he's like, nods and goes down. And then they have, in the back of the class, they have like a ballerina and a tutu. There's an astronaut. There's
I loved it. It was fantastic.
But the kids are like, what?
I also have that gut prosthetic.
So good.
The Jingle Bells heart murmur.
Oh, I had that too. I forgot to say it, but yes.
Very funny.
Wendy Crewson. Tim Allen, when he becomes Santa, is a classic Santa now. It's kind of part of the zeitgeist. The selectiveness of the CG, as I've said before, and the original song over the credits. Super fun, super funky, super great beat. Gripes. Disney. Tim Allen's little jokes.
And their shout out to the Disney Channel in this movie.
What?
He's like, he shouts at the Disney Channel.
Yeah, there's
A Disney movie.
a weird plug.
I missed it.
Gripes Gratian formula, Tim, where he's in his cocoon phase towards becoming Santa Claus, but the beard is clearly fake. Not great. I also have that gut prosthetic in Gripes because it is so realistic. It made me uncomfortable. Judge Reinhold and the plotting pace of this film. Done.
Oh, that was a little sour note.
Little sour
jab.
Oh, we end on Gripes.
Woof. I guess. I mean, you could you could alternate.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And why don't I start with our likes and gripes
Yeah,
for Christmas with the Kranks?
I'm so curious to hear this one. All right, go for it.
My likes actually outnumber my gripes.
Wow.
Well, I think that some of them are ironic likes. Because my first one is Jamie Lee's thunder look when there's suddenly a crash of thunder and she goes like into camera. Absurd. I like the typewriter song that's playing when he's doing when you realize he's an accountant.
Oh right.
Love that song. Dan Aykroyd towards the end of the film I realized was actually kind of okay in this film. It was all right. Hitting electronics to make them work. There was at some point someone hits a computer or something to make it work, and
no, it's the after they've random shit happens in this movie. Yeah. They overload the breakers of the neighborhood and they lose power.
Yes.
And the guys up at the tower, whatever
he hits the transformer and it
hits the transformer, and then it works. And
honestly, a lot of my experience with electronics is I just give it a little bit of a kick and it works. And finally, Emmett Walsh and Bev, the neighbors across the street. I loved them. Gripes, reading letters out loud when Tim is reading his memo aloud so camera can pick him up. Mm-hmm. Whatever fucking city they live in is a gripe. Terrifying place. They still have a goddamn wreath on their door. If they've canceled Christmas, why is there a wreath?
Yeah.
Big plot hole.
Yeah.
And the cat when it blinks. Cats don't blink. It blinks when it's frozen. Done.
Mm-hmm.
Done.
I don't know that I have any left to say, except for how did Spike undo the handcuffs? Gripe.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a very specific thing to catch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all I have for that.
Yeah, mine's short too. I liked nothing in this movie, and my gripe is everything. Every single moment of this movie.
That's extreme. No, though.
Yeah. You can't find any redeeming qualities about this movie that has so courageously taken on the holiday of Christmas.
I'm genuinely looking. That was me doing a real search of something. All right.
So then I guess my next question is there any point in throwing it to you for our next segment where we rate and compare these films?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
Here we go. So
Great.
We're going to now rate these movies. And how that works is that we have 5 categories. We have looks good, sounds good, story good, acts good, and rewatchability. And that's it. And then whichever movie has the majority of those categories is declared the Citizen Kane of the Week. And that's it. That's all she wrote. So starting with
where this is going.
Starting with looks good.
Actually, this is kind of tough.
My vote goes for the Santa Claus just because of the aggressive overuse of wide-angle lenses in Christmas with the Kranks. The opening shot is a 2-shot with them sitting in bed, and they've used such an aggressive wide lens that the pictures behind them are literally askew. They're angled because of the distortion of the lens, because it is so wide and
notice that.
unnecessarily so.
That's
They could have
so great.
just used a narrower lens and pulled back a little bit, but no. So for that cardinal sin, I go with the Santa Claus. And also the Santa Claus has dope shit like the North Pole and the fucking elves flying
And all kinds of practical effects and animatronics. And like memorable images and all kinds of cool stuff. And
just trying to keep it competitive. The classics have had a steady win rate the past like couple months here. So I'm trying to keep it open. But yeah.
Well, I'm open to an argument for Christmas with the Kranks.
No, there is no argument. There's merely that like both of these films, I guess you could say the cinematography, at least the camera work, is pretty standard, and all it does is just highlight what needs to be seen. And Christmas with the Kranks is newer, therefore it's a little crisper. But yeah, no, it's the Santa Claus.
Great.
What?
Just I was listening until
I farted mid explanation, and
sorry, what?
and Jack got me.
he fully Rudy Giuliani'd. He did a nice
that
like,
fucker has
lean in
COVID?
his chair. He did a lean in
Does
his
he
chair.
really have COVID?
Yeah, fucking got COVID.
I mean that seemed inevitable, really.
Yeah.
He's a fucking idiot.
Is he? Right. How's he doing?
I don't care.
Speaking of things
that
sound good, like Dan's toots and Giuliani having COVID. Sounds good.
Sounds good. Oh man, I think
the Santa Claus.
Yeah, I think merely because there's not as much horrible shrieking and weirdness.
Correct.
That was my main thing. Is just for Jamie Lee Curtis's ever yelps. I'm going to say. I'm gonna have to say the Santa Claus. Also, the only memorable, like, both these movies have Christmas music. I don't remember the soundtrack from Christmas with the Kranks at all, but I do know that the
really?
opening song. Yeah, I don't, but I do know the opening song of the Santa Claus was like an eerie rendition of. I forget what it is.
Carol of the Bells. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is like made to be creepy.
Yeah.
I love it.
So I don't know if it was a
Carol. It's so spooky.
It is really spooky, but it got my attention right away, and it stuck with me.
I'm shocked you don't remember Christmas with the Kranks, because Christmas with the Kranks, it's similar to the Santa Claus in that like it uses old Christmas carols and it modernizes them, and it gives like new groups the chance to take these songs and modernize them. But it's 2004, and 2004 is a terrible time for music. And so it just reflects how horrible music was in 2004.
I do want to say that there's one bit of sound stuff that I remember from Christmas with the Kranks, and that is when the carolers are at their door, and they have that really horrible sequence of like the growing crowd outside, just like battering the home with Christmas carols.
All the teens showing up on their bikes
to sing Jingle
sing
Bells.
Free Frosty, free Frosty, free Frosty.
Yeah, that made zero sense to me. But they did get me with the caroler reveal in the window. There's like a surprise. Yeah, they did.
Really?
Yeah, I thought it was fun.
Okay.
It's like the longest. It's the longest pan down to her yarn basket. It's like a full like 3 snaps. And then clearly, like, they needed that much time to get into position for like this really cliched bad reveal.
I thought it was cute.
God, I hate that movie. Okay, so
I still give it to Santa Claus though.
Sure, yeah, acting.
Santa Claus.
The Santa Claus.
Well, I mean, let's. Well.
Story.
Hold on,
the Santa Claus.
Oh, story.
The Santa Claus.
No. This is not just your moment, Jack.
I play the outro music. It's my.
I mean,
so we're done.
even that's debatable if you've listened to the past couple of episodes.
It's true.
But no, acting for sure, the Santa Claus. But in terms of story, I don't know, guys.
No, it's the fucking Santa Claus. No, it's the goddamn Santa Claus, man.
That's the one that I got to push back on. I think that the premise of Christmas with the Kranks It is strong. It is it is topical. It is topical. It is brave. No, I'm being stupid. Obviously, the Santa Claus, but that is the only category in this particular episode that I am torn on, because I do think that the idea is good.
It could have been a decent movie.
I mean, I don't know what else they could have done with that idea. I just like the idea of somebody deciding to boycott Christmas. I think it's something that you don't often see. I just don't know where it could have gone. I think it's a good kernel of an idea that doesn't really have anywhere to go as a movie without making the streets seem like a fucking cultish community.
Wait, no, I feel like the movie should have ended in some kind of like Jonestown-esque massacre.
I joked that kind of to Miranda that like the shot at the end of the movie, he's like giving away the cruise to the neighbors across the street, and he's standing in the middle, he's looking back, and his family are all doing this coordinated laugh in and out to Dan Aykroyd. Like they were like, all right, now pretend Dan Aykroyd's funny, everyone, on 3. And I just like I leaned over and I was like, and then he just massacres the place. Like he's just looking in his black coat, and he just pulls out something. And he just has like a hatchet,
a detonator,
and he walks back towards the house, and the credits start rolling up.
I love that ending. I would love that fucking ending. To this
that he's
movie.
like that it's like it's Dan's ending. That he's like, I didn't want any of this to happen, and you know what? It's not too late.
Yeah.
And then he just locks the door and just like sets it on fire.
The only way to end the corporatization of our beautiful beloved holiday is to just burn it to the ground.
Yeah.
Yep.
So rewatchability. The Santa Claus. We're going to watch the Santa Claus 2 because we had a good time.
Christmas with the Kranks.
I wouldn't watch the Santa Claus 2 solely because... No, actually, I would watch the sequel. I wouldn't watch the Santa Claus 3 again because that movie sucked all kinds of balls. But yeah, I'm for sure I'll never watch Christmas with the Kranks again, unless I'm trying to prove it like a social point with friends of mine, and I want to point them in the direction of of anti-Christmas propaganda.
Sean, what's happening right now? What are you doing?
He's trying to give. He's trying to make things interesting.
I mean, partially, but also honestly, I don't need to watch the Santa Claus again. It is a poor man's no. It is a poor man's version. It is a poor man's version of any other Christmas movie you could watch. Even though it's better than Christmas with the Kranks, I will avidly admit it is better than Christmas with the Kranks. I'd probably be more likely to put on Christmas with the Kranks because it's that fucking dumb.
A poor man's Christmas movie? The Santa Claus is quintessential Christmas movie.
Yeah.
Meh. It hits the point, but there's nothing special about this film. There's the prosthetics; they're nice, but like, this isn't the Christmas film you watch every year. This is a Christmas film that every so often you watch because it's on the TV.
What is the
film? It's a movie.
Exactly, which is why I will watch Christmas with the Kranks over this, because there are many other Christmas films I will happily rewatch.
Okay, so what is the Christmas movie you watch every year, Sean?
Like, probably none, but most often in my life would be The Muppets Christmas Carol.
Well, respect, because it's amazing.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, all right.
But I also read a fun fact about that today.
Yeah.
That apparently Michael Caine only agreed to do the Muppets Christmas Carol on the condition that he would not like wink or at all acknowledge that he had puppets around him. He was going to play it completely serious, like he was with the Royal Shakespeare Company.
Yeah.
And that was like he was like, I only do it if I do it like this. And that makes it so good.
I love that.
Yeah, isn't that great?
It is probably the most perfect Christmas film that is, I would argue.
I haven't seen it in a while. There's some loose ends in that movie.
It is the American way. It is the British way.
Is Yoda in that movie?
You?
It's Frank Oz, so yeah.
Is he the voice of Yoda?
Yeah.
And whatever character you were just doing that I couldn't distinguish?
Eddie Sam the Eagle, yeah. Pretty sure.
Oh yeah, probably yeah.
Okay,
I get that.
Right.
So, Sean, are you actually preventing this from being like a 100% clean sweep with is that a legitimate?
Which is more the reason why he's doing it, less about it not being
Absolutely
a good
not.
Christmas movie.
I stand firmly by. I don't need to see the the Santa Claus again. I'm not going to watch the Santa Claus 2. I'm not going to watch the Santa Claus 3.
Okay. I'll just remember this whenever you have an opinion on anything else in the future.
But you're going to rewatch Christmas with the Kranks?
No, not at all. But I would sooner rewatch a fantastically bad movie than just a middle of the line Christmas film.
So
from
you're telling
Disney.
you're legitimately, I know, in Disney, but this is at least like an original, whatever. So you're telling me though, like next Christmas rolls around, you and Aaron are sitting around. You have two VHS tapes. One is the Christmas of the Cranks, and one is the Santa Claus. And
Yes,
she's
because
like, Sean, dearest, put on a movie, and you're like, I know just the one.
Yep, because the drinking game to Christmas with the Cranks is way better than the Santa Claus.
Would you still be feeling this way if you hadn't seen the Santa Claus a million times in your childhood, and it wasn't just like? Oh,
I think I only saw it once or twice. I didn't really like this film as a kid. I remember it. It wasn't my I said, it wasn't my go-to Christmas.
You just hate nice things, eh? You just like don't like fun or heart or love or.
Dude, I'm choosing the film you've spent the last hour and 20 minutes defending.
Yeah, but I mean, the Santa Claus is so warm and sweet. I don't know where I'm going with this. I'm just
It's not.
It's
So
fine. That means the Citizen Kane of the week is
in a clean sweep.
Das Santas Claus, and not quite a
Tim
clean
Allen.
sweep. Is Tim Allen's the winner and lives today? It's not quite a clean. It's not a full clean sweep. It's not. It got 14 out of 15 votes again. So it's.
See that smirk on Sean's face there? Do you see how proud he was that he fucked the system?
So claps for the Santa Claus. Well done.
Yeah.
Well done.
Well deserved.
It was a very Tim Allen Christmas.
It was a very merry Tim Allen Christmas after all. And so next week we'll be having a guest once again.
Oh,
Very
right.
excited to have her.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll be doing some New Year's movies, whatever those are, because the week after this will be like a New Year's episode. What? Finally get out of 2020. And so
I hope they're both just like apocalypse films because this year has been such a shit show.
That would be appropriate. So to announce her movies, we have a little clip of Miranda Mayer presented by Miranda Mayer.
Right.
Let's see how this works. Go ahead.
Right up to the mic.
Hello, Citizen Kane versus. Okay, New Year's Eve, we're talking movie pairings. So, we are going to be comparing the 1957 classic An Affair to Remember to the 2011 schlock New Year's Eve. You knew it was coming. You knew it was coming. It's a New Year's Eve episode. So.
Nice.
Can't wait. See you there.
Yay!
Amazing.
And
don't know
yes,
what an
those of
affair
you
to
watching on
remember is.
YouTube, that was they couldn't. The video wasn't visible, unfortunately. But we'll get it. We'll get the video sent off to Dan. So save it, and he'll put it up on the YouTubes. But also,
Which
it's
makes this
just
entire explanation pointless.
pointless. But she just held her arm out. Well, Dan will do some fun editing where you'll see her arm come into frame. And
He's
then
not
it'll
going
be-
to now. Yeah.
He's gonna edit a zoom in, and then it'll be just the video.
Yeah.
He's very good. He's very good.
He's a very good guy.
That's why he's an elf. Because
Yeah.
he's so good.
He's a
Anyway,
helper.
so them's the movies. Tune in. There's nothing else you should be doing on New Year's Eve. Don't go to a party.
No,
don't
please,
throw
God.
a party.
Please, God.
Unless you're Rudy Giuliani. No, actually, no, I lied. I
No,
lied. I
you
would have said
can't.
that before.
Unless you're one of the octogenarians or frontline health workers who are going to be vaccinated by that point. Then yeah, you should all go to the same communion hall, and all have a good Shirley Temple together.
But I think it's not even in effect by then. Just don't. Just for this year, just don't. Let's all scream from our windows like a collective scream of relief.
Yeah.
So yeah, on that note, that's that. I don't think I kind of mentioned like an alternative movie. I think to defend Christmas with the Cranks, I think there is a fun movie that we kind of mentioned, like a kind of Home Alone-esque vibe, where it's just them foiling their neighbors. That'd be a fun movie. Like that could be a good movie. They just didn't
instead
make
of Joe,
it.
Yes.
instead of Joe Pesci, it's Thanos.
Instead of Joe Pesci, it's actually it's just Thanos the whole movie instead of Tim Allen.
Right.
Or it's Tim Allen for the first like 8 minutes of the movie, and then it's just replaced by Thanos, and there's no explanation as to why it's just changed.
Or is it like the inciting incident is Thanos wishes that half of his acquaintances would disappear, because then half of his Christmas responsibility would not be there. But then by the time Christmas rolls around, he realizes that Christmas isn't worth it unless it's with the people you love.
But by that point, he's already killed half of his family.
By that point, but then as soon as he realizes that, the Avengers come in and like Iron Man like fucking blasts a guy right into him, and then it's like, oh no, yeah.
I actually just thought of there is an amazing Thanos teaser that could be made of this, which is that it's just a teaser of it's Tim Allen still, of course, but it's him hearing like clompiness on his roof, and he scares Thanos off of his roof, and he falls in the snow.
Yeah.
And then it's the Infinity Gauntlet waving at him, and he starts to, and then it's just a trailer of like the same scenes as from the Santa Claus, but he's becoming Thanos. He's like, well, and it's like he's going to the doctor, and he's like purple, and he's losing his hair instead of gaining hair, and like,
Yeah, there it is.
and he's like, you just been eating too many grapes. It's like some other random explanation. And going to the business meeting, and instead of like defending Christmas, he just like fully like he just like destroys one of the people in his boardroom, and his boss is like, you got to get it together.
Yeah. And it just like snaps, and Judge Reinhold bursts into flames. Yeah.
And that's it. And it's him being like taken up to the spaceship, and the exact same actor who plays Bernard is just like, hey, look, it's how it works. Did you read? You put on the gauntlet, you're the new Thanos. Okay? Yeah. And he's like, what? And that's it.
Love it.
And it's called the Thanos Claus.
Okay.
Ooh.
And it's like actually legitimately a thing that I wish would happen. That sounds pretty funny.
Like it's straight up going to be the Christmas Avengers film that Disney inevitably makes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I hope all the franchises become so bloated in their future that they just start making other movie genres within those universes.
Yeah. Oh, they will. Absolutely.
Just like a
The Mandalorian has already
has it done that?
The Mandalorian is just a Western in Star Wars.
But isn't Star Wars just a Western in Star Wars?
Oh, Star Wars is
it's a samurai movie.
Japanese samurai movie in space. Yeah.
Yeah. With wizards.
Yeah.
So Western.
So, well, like the Western tropes certainly have adapted ideas from. Yeah.
I'm just being silly. Like, subscribe. Email us ideas for movies. Send us feedback. Citizen Kane versus at Gmail. Citizen Kane VS.
Yeah.
At gmail.com. Check us out on Instagram. Citizen Kane VS podcast.
Tell your friends. Tell them.
Yeah. Tell your friends, tell your enemies, tell your family, rate and review on all the podcast apps you might be listening to us on. That goes a long way for us.
Like us, subscribe to us.
Yeah, if you watch us on YouTube, subscribe to our channel, leave comments, leave negative comments for Sean to fight you on.
I will fight you.
Yeah, we'll fight
Sean
you.
will fight you. Sean will fight you.
Yeah.
I don't like people.
Shit on us. Yeah. We'll take it.
But actually, if you have movies you want us to review, or you have silly Thanos teasers, or just like really any kind of feedback you want to throw our way, feel free to reach out. And we love it all. We love you guys for listening.
We need to not sound so desperate. You know what? If you don't have anything really cool to add, just keep it to yourselves. We don't need nothing. Does that read better?
Do it in the Elf California fuck me voice.
Hey, so here's the thing about the podcast. You know,
that's really good.
We're just doing it, you know, for ourselves. So if you don't have anything cool to say, just leave it out, man. I'm an elf.
With attitude.
With attitude.
Oh, that's good. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.
Citizen Kane versus.
Nice.
I made that. I just made that up. I didn't prepare that at all.
Bye,
Merry
you
Christmas.
can't tell.
Merry Christmas. Bye.
Meow.